Grimsby Manor calling, Grimsby Manor calling. This is Sir Barkley Toodle, gentleman of Mayfair and master of wit, welcoming you to another installment of Toodle Tales. Kindly compose yourself, ruffles straightened, tails tucked, and prepare for an adventure of impeccable absurdity. Tonight we continue Sir Barkley Toodle's trip to Bath. Part 2. The Train Station and the Raven. The Growls Royce pulled into the modest railway station at Wimbley-on-Dawdle, which boasted a fine platform made of actual planks, a bench of considerable tilt, and a tea kiosk that had not sold anything warmer than marmalade since 1902. The station master, a tortoise of generous age and tortuous logic, was leaning over the ticket window when the pair arrived. His name, so said the plaque barely clinging to the wall, was Mr. Tiberius Knott. He wore thick, round spectacles that gave him the permanent expression of someone who had just seen something unexpectedly meaningful in a biscuit tin. "Ah, Sir Barkley," he drawled, the name unfolding over several syllables, as if it had to pass through customs. "Grimsby Manor. What a procession! What a day! What a hat!" "Not, old chap," said Sir Barkley, offering a brisk tip of his bowler and a sharp tap of his walking stick on the station floor. "We require 2 tickets to Bath. 1 collie, 1 terrier, 4 trunks, a hat box, and a rather experimental picnic basket that may require its own seat depending on its temper." Mr. Knott squinted at the cracked crystal on his wristwatch, which had stopped long ago at about tea-time, and made a noise that sounded like a chair creaking through philosophy. "Train to Bath. Yes. Now then, let me think. Bath trains run on Wednesdays, except when they don't, and not at all on days ending in Y. Today is Thursday," Giles offered politely. "Precisely," said Mr. Knott, as though Giles had confirmed his suspicion that the moon was made of toast. "You'll want platform 2, unless it's Tuesday, in which case it doesn't exist, at all." Sir Barkley leaned in confidentially. "Tell me, Knott, when is the next train due?" Mr. Knott consulted a brass schedule hanging on a nail beside him. It appeared to have been last updated in 1878. According to the timetable, 3 hours ago. "Splendid," said Sir Barkley. "We're early." Giles said nothing. He simply handed over a crumpled envelope marked "Emergency Schedule, Actual," which he kept in his waistcoat for just such occasions. Mr. Knott nodded at it gravely, as though presented with an ancient scroll, and produced 2 tickets with the slow majesty of a sunrise. "Do keep your ear out for announcements," said Knott as they turned to go. "I like to whisper them gently into my tea, and let the steam carry them to the proper ears." "That explains so much," said Barkley, profoundly impressed. Platform 2 was already bustling with mid-morning activity, if bustling could be said of creatures that were mostly standing perfectly still and looking mildly alarmed by the idea of motion. Near the ticket kiosk stood a family of hedgehogs, all dressed in various shades of tan and panic. There were 3 children, each wearing matching corduroy knickerbockers and wool vests, all holding onto the same tin of buttered biscuits as if it were the last treasured residue left from the empire. Their father, Mr. Hibble Hodge, wore spectacles thick enough to melt ants, and read timetables with the gravity of a physicist, while their mother, Mrs. Hodge, fluttered about the luggage with an air of doomed optimism. Presiding over them all, like a small, spiky thundercloud, was Grandmamma Pricklebrow, a hedgehog of considerable vintage and uncompromising opinions. She wore a plum bonnet, a large jet brooch, and carrying a walking cane she used mainly for tapping people who disappointed her. "The last time I went to Bath," she declared, to no one in particular, "the water was warm, the sandwiches were chilled, and I had respect." We shall see if anything has survived the century. Meanwhile, on the opposite end of the platform, a tall, glossy, feathered raven stood beneath a wrought iron lamppost. He wore a barrister's collar and an expression of intense abstraction. An earbud hung just below his jet-black feathered crown, and he was speaking in a rapid, clipped voice to someone who clearly wasn't there. "Look, tell Buenos Aires office they can't expect a deposition and a tango demonstration in the same afternoon. It's absurd. I don't care if Signor Talon thinks he can reschedule. You tell him I have feathers older than his law degree. No, no, no. You hold Clarice." Sir Barkley, who had been approaching the raven with the intention of complimenting his plumage, stopped mid-step, utterly taken aback. "Pardon me," Barkley said, with a courteous dip of his bowler, "but did you say Buenos Aires?" The raven, not hearing him, continued, "If the Argentinian courts want extradition, they'll have to file in triplicate, and not on cocktail napkins this time." Sir Barkley blinked. "My word," he whispered to Giles, who had sidled up beside him. "Do you hear that? This Corvid gentleman is about to be deported." "Don't be daft, sir," Giles muttered. "He's probably on one of them callin' devices. Look, see the earworm there?" "But why would he want to go to Argentina when Bath is clearly the better destination?" Barkley asked, utterly distraught. "There are no mineral waters in Argentina, no Regency terraces, no polite cream teas, nor peach trifles." The raven turned slightly and barked into the ether. "I don't care what that penguin says. Tell him I am not wearing a tie in Patagonia if I am not wearing one here." Sir Barkley paled. "Oh, heavens! Penguins are involved. This is international." Giles pinched the bridge of his nose. Grandmamma Pricklebrow, now eavesdropping shamelessly from 3 feet away, muttered, "Birds espy, mark me. All this foreignness, first it's penguins, then it's dancing." The train whistle shrieked in the distance, a sound that caused the youngest hedgehog to fall backwards into the biscuit tin and curl into a ball. Sir Barkley straightened his vest and whispered solemnly, "We must keep our wits, Giles. If I am approached for diplomatic assistance, I am prepared, but I shall neither tango nor visit the Pampas where all of those absurd Reyes reside." He clicked his gentleman cane on the bench with the last 3 words to emphasize his resolution not to be involved in what he would later recollect as the affair in the Argentine. You have been listening to Toodle Tales, narrated as only he can by Sir Barkley Toodle, collie of distinction. Until our next adventure, keep your marmalade unscandalized, your croquet wickets upright, and remember, dignity is not optional. All stories and images copyrighted 2025, Philip E. Wells, all rights reserved.